So I just got a notification on my phone that I got a new subscriber. Bam, 1,000 subscribers. Thanks all you guys who have been long-time subscribers, all the new subscribers as well, and guess we'll look to keep growing the channel. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Officially at 1,000 subscribers, as you just saw. So couldn't be more stoked for that. Going to be doing another valve cover tutorial. This one's going to cover some of the things that I haven't gone over in the past, mostly with getting rid of some of the casting imperfections and things. This is on I think a brand new Evo X valve cover. It's going to end up going Illusion Cherry and then a mix of Topcoats, Adams Gold and Silver Sparkle. So ends up with a pretty cool result. So we'll get to that right now. Another valve cover tutorial, and the only reason that I'm doing another one of these, even though I've done a bunch, is I figured this would be a great opportunity to show you about removing casting imperfections mostly. This is an Evo 10 valve cover. Generally a pretty good casting minus a bunch of little stuff, which I'll kind of show you here in more detail in a second. This one's already had the baffles removed. This one actually might be a brand new cover. So we're gonna have to worry about the masking on the bottom for now. I mean, as far as blasting goes, which is good. I always recommend pulling all the baffles no matter what. We got this piece right here, which I've already pulled out, but I figured I'd shove part way back in to kind of show you guys the easiest technique for getting these out, especially if they're a 90 degree like this one. Makes life much easier. You can literally just put a screwdriver in it and you just rotate it back and forth, and as you're rotating it back and forth, just put tension going that way, whatever way you need to pull it out, and they just pop out. So screwdriver about the same size as this will make sure that you don't mess this up at all. I'm guessing that these are nearly impossible to find because they probably come in the valve covers when you get them. That just makes it so, I mean, this looks better not powder coated. You want to mask it off twice for blasting and coating. You can just put a silicone plug in like normal. So the other thing I want to show you here, I want to see, I don't know if I can get this on the camera. You can kind of see, well, you can hear all these casting imperfections. You can kind of see it, how it looks flaky. You actually can't feel that much, but there's little dots that come up, and they're all over. I mean, there's some on this side that are, I mean, you can hear how loud that is. So we're gonna go around right now with a DA, same thing we use every time, and smooth all of that out. So when I do these, I always do the tops and as much of, the theoretical front of the valve cover as possible. I rarely worry about going down inside here. I'll roll these edges a little bit, but I don't go down, I don't worry about any of that. If you have a customer that's really picky about that, and you can explain to him that it's going to cost them more money if you want them to go down into there. I don't even tell customers that I do this most of the time. I just do it because it makes the overall product look better, so I don't charge extra for it at all. And we'll also go, make sure this is showing up on camera. So all of these, see if I can get it to focus here. So all of these I'm going to remove as well. You can go in with something and like clean them up and only hit those areas. I choose to do it with a DA, just the side of a DA, just knock them all down at the same time. It's easier than grabbing specific tools to do it with. Dremel tool or a grinder with a Scotch-Brite disc on it works wonders to get rid of this stuff. And once again, this is just to give it a better overall finish. It's not a necessity. I don't even tell customers I do it. I just do it. So if you have a customer, I should note, if you have a customer that is really picky, especially if they're doing a restoration of an older vehicle, I know a lot of the older Japanese vehicles are starting to get restored and refinished and made to look pretty again, even stuff from the 90s, which is pretty wild to think about. Some of them are going to want these casting marks and stuff to remain. It's more just because they want it factory original than anything else. So, Evo valve cover, nobody's restoring one of these, obviously. So, or an Evo 10 specifically. So we're going to go through, knock all those down, tape off some of these machined areas prior to blasting, and get this thing in the blasting cabinet after that. Let's go. All right, got this thing all sanded down. All the casting imperfections sanded down, I should be clear. Got it all taped off, all the machined areas, then went ahead and sandblasted it. Since people ask, I think pretty much every video, I will mention now that I use 3060 green diamond. I'll put the link to the company who manufactures it down there, and they have distributors kind of all over the country if you want to go that route. I've had a couple people ask me, since they can't get the product close to them, what I suggest, and I don't have any suggestions. I've only used green diamond since I started, and it works like a champ. So I mean, there's been no reason for me to even look elsewhere at this point. I've heard a lot of really good things about DuPont Star Blast, but I have never once used it, so none of that knowledge is firsthand. So got the duct tape off of all these. You know, duct tape's just there to mask the machine surfaces. So we're gonna put it in the oven. I'm gonna blow it off now, and then I'll put it in the oven to outgas it, and we'll pull it back out and get it masked up. All right, got this thing sanded down, blasted, outgassed. It's been blasted again. Touched up one little spot over here. Started the masking process, same as before, just the machined areas. Using bolts and all the threaded holes on this one. I've had a couple people ask me the difference between bolts and plugs. There isn't one. Don't really have a preference either way. Bolts, I guess ultimately are cheaper, and I feel like they block the threads better, and you don't have to worry about powder ever being on the outside of the plug and then sticking to the thread, because they're already threaded in. So we'll use our normal technique for the underside, doing foil and clips, same little clips I always use. You guys have seen them probably in other valve cover tutorials. Just a box of these from Walmart, or a bin of these from Walmart, I think is like $8, and you get a ton in all different sizes. I think these are they come in 4 different sizes if I remember correctly. So these are the bigger ones, which also work depending on the valve cover. And then we're gonna go through, lay foil over all of this stuff. Gonna make sure that the foil is like fairly tight so it blocks these holes so powder doesn't come through these. You could also tape the backside, or you could put plugs in them if you really wanted to go that route. So we'll get some foil on these things right now and get this thing hung up and start spraying it. So I'm gonna go Illusion Cherry for the base coat. For those of you that don't know, that's a dormant candy, meaning it needs a clear to activate the color. So we're gonna put this down, but instead of using a traditional clear, we're gonna be using a mix of Silver Sparkle and Adam's Gold. Customer ultimately is looking to have a subtle silver and gold flake. This is gonna be really subtle, because what's gonna end up happening is when the color comes through and kind of dyes the clear coat that you put on it, which is how this color works, it's going to cover up a majority of the silver and gold sparkles, so you're only going to see a limited number of those. When I say cover up, you're still going to see the color through the red ultimately, but there won't be as much obvious sparkle coming through as like a top coat. All right, got this thing all ready to go. Got it hung. I hang them this way because this is going to be your most difficult area to get powder down into, so you can let gravity help you a little bit. Depends on the gun setup. This gun handles it just fine, but some guns might not. Gonna be spraying a Illusion Cherry. Directions recommend 45 to 60 kV. I have it set right about 50 right now, so we'll start throwing some powder at this thing and get her in the oven. Like I said, I always do the hard to reach areas first. Should do that with any project, not just valve covers, but go around, get all the edges. As far as the masking goes on this is definitely a preference thing. So some people want the machined areas not blasted. They want them all masked off ahead of time. Typically try not to coat most of them. Depends on the cover. Honda covers all come machined in certain areas, and people want them that way. The only reason they're that way is because they're machined after finishing. And you can't see any of those machined areas when the valve cover's installed. So some people just like looking at it and thinking it's pretty before they install it. Or lately I've been doing valve covers for people for wall art. So they might want to go that route for something like that. Okay, this thing's all coated. I'm gonna throw it in the oven. The oven's already up to temperature, so it should go quick. Alright, got this thing cooled down. 155, I'm gonna let it cool for a couple more minutes. It's only in the oven for a very short time. Basically wait on the Illusion colors, or mostly Illusion colors, about 3 minutes after flow out, which is where it goes into like its liquid form. You pull it out of the oven, let it cool down so you can put the top coat on. So we already got the top coat mixed up, 50% Adams Gold, 50% Silver Sparkle. Just kind of eyeballed it, honestly. This guy just wants silver and gold sparkles, and this is the best way to do it. So just put a little bit in the hopper, got that all loaded up, gonna clean the gun and stuff one more time, and be ready to spray this thing. Alright, ready to put the top coat on this thing. Got the KV set. It's around 35. Prismatics says below 45 if it's going over a base coat. So we're just going to guess at it. Drop it down that low. I have the air pressure set pretty low right now. Just want to get some of this covered before I go at this center area. And one thing you want to make sure of when you're doing the top coat, especially over an Illusion or a dormant candy of any kind, is you want to make sure that you get enough clear on it, or whatever your top coat is. Traditionally it's a clear of some kind, because if you don't, you'll have spots that don't do like the flop over into the candy finish that you're ultimately trying to get. So if you ever do a job like this, you'll see spots that are still kind of silverish looking or not quite the same color, and that's an area typically that you didn't get enough clear in. There are some other factors that I've seen play a role in that, but they're pretty rare. So I like to try to speak in generalities here on the channel. But you know, like always, if you guys have questions, feel free to hit me up and I will do my absolute best to answer them for you. And I also know some of you guys that are going to be using like hobby guns. I mean, I guess theoretically my gun's technically, I guess, a hobby gun, 20-year-old hobby gun, according to the internet at least. You're going to have issues with Faraday in some of these tighter spots. The Faraday area, of course, is just where powder is not going in. I don't know how to help you guys get through that with some of the like lower end guns. My gun, although theoretically is just a hobby gun, has, you know, kind of surpassed the hobby level in most ways. It does just as well as some of the other guns that I have access to, we'll say. So if you have areas like that, I've seen people that have sprayed it while it's quite a bit warmer to help powders stick down into areas like that. I don't suggest it, especially on dormant candies, just because it can affect the color, the overall finish of the color. But if it's for your stuff and you're going to be content with whatever the color is, the dog hair just landed on that, then it's probably okay too. So we'll get this thing thrown in the oven, see what it looks like. All right, got this thing all done. What I'm actually going to do right now, because this color looks really dark right now, as it cools down, it's going to lighten up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the time lapse on this while it sits and cools. It's going to be a long time lapse, but hopefully a short video, and you will see just how much this thing changes. All right, got this thing finished up here. Pull all the bolts out. Check and make sure. Guess I should have looked to make sure I got full coverage before I was taking all the bolts out. But I have faith in my abilities, so we'll call it good. This color, I don't know how well this color gets picked up. Yeah, even on camera I can tell it looks pretty dark. It's definitely not nearly as dark as it looks on camera. I noticed that before with this color. We're gonna get this all ready and take it outside, put it in the sun so you can get a little bit better idea. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of the sparkle and the depth of the color here. I know both of these colors don't show up super well. I mean, both sparkles don't show up super well on camera. The silver and gold both do really good on like black and stuff, but when you put them on other colors, they just look like a sparkle. It doesn't even look silver. It's super random. So grab the last a couple of these. Good to put this back in. A little pro tip, by the way, for putting this back in is if you just put it in the freezer while you're doing the work on the valve cover and then pull it out, it'll slide right in. So get all these out of here. I guess I feel weird making another valve cover how-to, but I just definitely wanted to show this aspect of it. Plus, I mean, there's differences in all valve covers, and I guess I get to show off different colors and stuff. It's not like I've been doing the same color on every valve cover how-to that I've done, which is, I guess, a good thing. Last of this. Yeah, I'm getting the idea that this valve cover was actually brand new. I mean, there's no oil staining or anything. I mean, it was clean, obviously, but even normally a valve cover that's clean will have some sort of staining on the underside of it. And this one, I mean, this one was real clean. Much cleaner than you might expect on a valve cover that's been being used. Oh yeah, I guess now's a good time. So I went over 1,000 subscribers finally. So thanks to you guys for that. I guess I probably mentioned it at the beginning of this video. And as you know, when you get to 1,000, you have the ability to monetize your videos, and I don't know too much about any of that yet. YouTube had me sign up for it a while back as I was getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so I guess we'll see. But I don't know if you guys already, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't ever see commercials, so I don't know if there's even commercials in my videos necessarily. I guess comment down below if you know, because like I said, when I have Premium, I don't see any of those, so I have no idea. Well, I got this up on edge here. I can definitely show you why putting in that little bit of work at the beginning to sand down all the casting stuff. So you look here, these are all smoothed out as opposed to having those ugly ridges and stuff that it ends up developing. Like I said, it's more just a preference thing. If you don't want to just do it, I'm sure your customer, you can charge your customer for it. I do it just because I think it looks better and it only takes a couple minutes, honestly, so it's not like it's a super involved task. Pull all my clips here. I'll pull this foil. See that there's nothing down underneath. There we go. Nice clean cover. Get all these little scraps of foil. Oh, some more over here. Sweet. Wipe this thing down and go put it in the sun. Just like that, another video is done. Sorry about the how-tos on valve covers kind of over and over. I think I've already done, I think this is the third one. I always see things in the previous how-tos that I kind of wish that I went over or didn't have the opportunity to do because the valve cover didn't need it, like, you know, fixing casting flaws, things like that. So these are a little repetitive, I'm sorry. I'm trying to answer people's questions with new videos. I got a couple more how-tos that I'm already in the works of. I saw there was a request to do candy over super chrome, and I actually have a video of some springs for like a off-road, like rock crawler type scenario coming up. And then that same day, I'm also going to be shooting, I think it's black chrome 1, which is like a tinted clear, basically a light black, candy black, if you will, over super chrome on some Ford wheels. So be a good opportunity to do some how-tos with that because I haven't really done any of those yet. Also have the how-to on how to do patterns and stuff. I'm going to do that on a couple valve covers just because they're kind of easy. Won't be another how-to necessarily. It's more just to show the techniques of doing that. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos. Thanks again for hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that now. Turn on notifications to see new videos that come out. And until next time.
By now you should have at least blown. It's funny, I'm mad famous for being unknown.
That fool said, let my dick breathe.